So you're a victim, right? Yeah, you had a hard time. You had a hard childhood, I get it. Yeah, your parents didn't give you enough validation. Maybe you only had one parent. Maybe you didn't have good role models. Maybe you got bullied in school. Maybe a lot of shit happened, but it made you tougher, right? But you are struggling, right? You're still holding on to a lot of resentment. You're quite closed off. You become quite defensive when you're challenged. Maybe I can identify with that. I've gone through a lot of shit in my life too. I've had a tough childhood. I had a narcissistic mother and a narcissistic and schizophrenic father. And I experienced a lot of abuse, mental, emotional, and physical abuse from my parents. Mhm. That doesn't look genuine at all, does it? But I did. And I held a lot of resentment. When I was in school, primary school, I was very angry. I used to get in fights with the bigger kids all the time. I found it difficult to hold friends because I didn't like people. I didn't trust people. I attracted a lot of bullshit to myself because of my anger, my resentment. I felt like a piece of shit that I had to prove myself to the whole fucking world. I was I was a dark little demonic little fuck when I was a kid. It's true. I really was an angry kid. Later in secondary school or high school, as you might call it in your country, I became maybe less resentful. I started to become more confident in myself because I started to kind of disassociate myself from my parents to a quite a high degree. I didn't really respect them, so I guess I decided I had to, take care of myself. But I was starting to get a little bit lighter, I guess, because I didn't attract the same amount of bullshit to myself. So I can relate. I've been through a lot. I attracted a lot of difficult situations to myself, difficult relationships later in life as well. I attracted um, my mirrors because I was quite a resentful individual. I held on to a lot of pain, a lot of feeling of unworthiness. I felt like a real victim. I felt like the whole world was against me. So I can relate to a lot of you. So I was raised by two narcissists. I became a narcissist and I attracted myself to other narcissists. I got into a relationship with a narcissist who we both tried to destroy each other for almost 10 years until I had a basically an emotional mental breakdown. And what came out of that was hope, which I don't believe in hope now, but it was this glimmer, this spark, this idea of I actually deserve better. I deserve love. Because what I was experiencing in my life up to that was not love. There was something in me that knew that love must exist, but for some reason I didn't deserve it. And that spark said, wait, but what if I did deserve that? What would I have to do to deserve that? Silence. I simply just have to choose it. There's nothing for me to do but to choose it because everything I tried to do up to that point, trying to attain it, didn't work. It just created more darkness, more despair, more resentment. Because the more I tried to prove myself that I was worthy, the more I fell, the more I failed, the more I was persecuted, the more I was shamed, the more I punished myself, the more I talked down to myself. I rejected myself over and over. And when I rejected myself, the people around me rejected me, because the energy that you put out, you get back. So I died. I had an ego death. And from that, something new was born. An idea that maybe I deserve more. So then I started to believe that I don't have to be identified with my past, who I came from. I don't have to believe that my past is my fate, but I can create my own fate based on my true desire from my heart, which is to experience love. And the only way that I can experience love is to let go of what's limiting me, what's holding me down, the bondage with my past, my victimhood. That seed began to grow as the years passed. And one day I realized that I simply just have to decide who I want to be, and to start being that person, that identity that feels internal love unconditionally. And from that self-love, you transform, you begin to create, you begin to radiate a new existence, a new reality, and then you attract that love back to you. This is the shortened version of my life. So I'm saying to you guys, I can identify with the journey of struggle as when we've been victimized in our lives. But the only way to get out of victimhood is to choose love, to know that you actually deserve love. It doesn't matter what happened in your life. It doesn't matter how bad it's been. This has all happened to you to bring you to breaking point where you can actually find your truth, which brings you to your true power. Because all that's happened to you does not need to define you, but it's actually refining you. Victimhood. It's a part of your journey, you experience it, but at some point you're going to have to drop the identity of being a victim. Because ultimately everything that you experienced, all the hardship, has actually made you stronger, more aware, more resilient, more compassionate, more empathetic, more loving. It's taught you to have integrity, to be authentic. Even when it scares you, you're brave enough to stand to your values and be authentic and not be afraid to say no, because all of the hardship you've gone through has taught you that if you are not authentic, you will be compromised. You will be victimized. Because if you say yes when you should be saying no, you're saying that, okay, I'll do whatever you want. Because standing up for myself, I don't deserve that. I would rather be a people pleaser and accommodate other people, because I don't want to upset the apple cart. I don't want to speak out against injustice, because maybe I will be cut out of I won't get my cut of the pie, right? I'll be ostracized. I'll be alienated, right? I don't want to be alienated. So I have to keep the peace, right? I have to keep the peace. They're my family, right? I can't speak up for myself, can I? I mustn't do that. There he goes again. Oh, well, it's too late. You're already the scapegoat. You might as well just relish in it. This is a very long video. Bottom line, guys, is you can't stay in victimhood. At some point you have to transform all of that energy, and you have to turn it into empowerment. You have to become fucking authentic. Yeah? You can't be Spider-Man in your bedroom making webs everywhere all the time. You gotta go out in the world and actually do something of value. Yeah? So there's a time and a place for holding space and empathy for the pain and suffering that we've gone through. But there is a point where we have to say enough is enough, and we have to brush ourselves off and get on with it, because we've learned our fucking lesson. If we stop repeating inauthentic patterns of, for example, people pleasing and trying to accommodate people and playing small in order to fit in, you stop doing that, then you're already on the right path away from identifying as some kind of a victim. Because if you continue to identify with the pain and the suffering that you experienced in your life, then you will inevitably become the archetype of that which caused you the suffering in the first place. You have to transform it. You have to alchemize that pain into power, into your heart, to radiate, because you do deserve love. But you have to be it first. You have to be it. You have to embody it within yourself. Know that you went through all that suffering, which is to basically to rupture the false identity, so that the true identity, the authentic, the Christed being inside can come out and glow like a lighthouse. Because you don't need to impress anyone, because you unapologetically just radiate your truth. That's all you have to do. And follow your passion, follow your light. Be the fucking lighthouse. Not a soldier, not a follower, but a leader. I think that's all I have to say.